On March the 28th, 2007, the seminar Governance and Control was organized by the Dutch Controllers Institute in close collaboration with VERA and supported by MCA. The event took place during the meeting in Amsterdam of the Professional Accountants and Business Committee of the International Federation of Accountants. Considering various accounting scandals in the last years, 6 speakers commented on the question, did we really find new and more effective ways to control strategy, performance and compliance? Have we really solved the control issue?
Okay, I hope that you will have an interesting meeting this seminar. I'm sure of it. And I'd like to give the first word to Edward Chow, our chairman. Please, Edward.
We are indeed very grateful to Royal Nivra and in particular Henry for organizing this meeting for us to make our stay most enjoyable, and despite having had 2 very hardworking 2.5 days, we are still in pretty good shape, completing the meeting better off than before, a lot clearer than before. Before, the accounting practices and so on were different from country to country, from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Now, to enable common understanding, there has been a process of convergence in accounting standards, in auditing standards, and also in our code of ethics. So it is important that the accounting bodies of every country are practicing the same standard. That has been a goal for a long time.
The committee is embarking on a process of developing principles-based guidance as a practical support to PABs to help them in their decision-making in organisations by bringing together widely accepted good practice in a more summarised way, and to provide signposting and case studies where we feel that we can provide practical support in case studies.
Things change rapidly, standards and regulations change rapidly. New techniques come along, and we like to keep our members up to date and focused on continual learning. It's important in almost any professional field. We are developing what we're calling a virtual campus, where people can go in and they can select courses to take, they can chat with other students, they can chat with experts in the field. So this is part of our continuing career development, having people learn about cutting-edge topics and also to brush up on the basics.
The power of the outside director is increased, and I want to discuss a little bit with you what that means in the Dutch environment.
To what extent are the outside directors independent from the managing directors?
Well, that really depends on the extent to which outside directors have access to real knowledge. Are they very knowledgeable about the business? For if all the knowledge, all the relevant knowledge is with the managing directors and not with the outside directors, the outside directors have effectively no power. They can only rubber stamp actually the decisions that are prepared by the managing directors.
Should we get the donkey to reach the objective, the end of the road, via the carrot and the stick, the formal control system, or should we appeal to his or her sense of job satisfaction?
Sometimes we neglect the role of trust in organizations. People are social creatures, so they like to adhere to social rules. And we see that companies invest a lot in measurement systems to measure performance of individuals and reward that. And sometimes forget that, well, many people work in the first place because they have a pleasure in their jobs and the pleasure working with colleagues to cooperate. So control is probably necessary, but trust and social relations are extremely important.
Yes. Have those measurement systems gone too far?
Perhaps in some cases they have gone too far. We all know about the scandals where people got so much incentives to do things that eventually turned out badly. And if we take more or we pay more attention to social relationships, checking each other's work, helping each other out, I think that we can safeguard against much of the bad effects of incentives.
What do we expect from shareholders? What do we expect from institutional investors, actually also the shareholders, should contribute their part into good corporate governance, which means that the idea is that a good shareholder is an active shareholder. Some say that these active shareholders, like private equity and hedge funds, are not good for the other shareholders and for the companies. So the stakeholders' issues are at stake, and many people say, well, you know, it's a one-dimensional discussion which we have to be careful about. But at the same time, we also have a number of examples now, even in the Netherlands, where we show that active shareholdership can lead to changes and make companies better or perform better than they used to. So it's a mixed bag of evidence, as we say in the literature.
What I would like to do is talk a little bit about the hard measures of control, not discarding the soft measures, of course, but I think trust is really important. We know of some very famous examples in which companies really abandoned the budgeting. So what we thought was, what did they put in place instead of this budgeting system? And what you see is that they install all kinds of pretty advanced management tools that can be done with or without the budgeting system. I personally think that if you try to add these things to the current budgeting system, that perhaps that may even improve more your corporate performance.
It's kind of a difficult task that I have today, being the last speaker. It's really hot in this room, and I'm going to talk about perhaps the most boring topic that you can think of within the area of control and finance. Many of the corporate scandals that we have seen the last few years, well, actually the last decades, find a source in lacking deficient internal control systems. Simple, the checks and balances, so very mechanistic, technocratic measures that are not okay. So I'm talking about segregation of duties, all kinds of reconciliations that must be done, procedures that must be put in place, that must be checked if indeed a follow-up is given on these procedures. So very basic, but it's so extremely important. And that's also part of the overall corporate governance problem.
Thank you for joining our online seminar report. For more information about the Controllers Institute's Training and Development Program, visit our website www.financialexecutive.nl.